Today I'm working on the bulkhead. I priced out what it's going to cost in steel to rebuild this, and I was able to pick up this piece of 2x3. It's 10 foot long. It was what's called a drop. The machine shop, or the weld shop fabricating place that I get the steel from that give me a good deal, threw that in with my plate. The plate that I'm getting was pretty inexpensive. As far as I priced out, it'd be like 160 bucks for the thickness I wanted and the size I wanted from several places. The place I get it from was about half that, and they share it right to the size we want. So, and you know, the whole thing about keeping this budget conscious, I'm not going to spend money where I can save money. I'm going to spend money on things that matter, like getting the engine re-rated. Instead of spending that money on this bulkhead, I'm going to spend it on that engine re-rate, which is more important. This is cosmetics. This is something I just didn't like. So I'm going to take the time, because in this situation, I'd rather spend the time than spend the money. So I'm going to take this apart, see what I have. If I'm happy with what I got after I take it apart, we'll move forward and I'll use this material. If I'm not happy, I'll buy new and just build it without a new material, and it'll just absorb the cost. That's what it is. But we are going to keep tally of the breakdown of how much money we spent on this project, because I want to come in at the right number. But anyways, new air compressor is working beautifully. It's only kicked on one time the whole time I was plasma cutting all this stuff, and it was at 140 psi when I started, or 148, something like that. So it's only kicked on once, and it's working very well. Let's get going. I got it all cut apart. There's 1, 2, 3, and 4. I was looking at it, and it looks like this one here is a good long one, and this one here is a good long one. So I'm not going to cut that apart right now. I'm going to wait and see what we need. I know this isn't enough to do what I want, so I may be using all that stuff that I have already and just buying more of this, because it's going to just cost too much. This is going to clean up nice. I mean, I've already plasma cut that out pretty well. I just have to grind this off here. Actually, I'm going to take a plasma cutter to this, like I did the other side. It'll make it a little bit easier a little bit faster to clean up. The more I can take off the plasma cutter fast. You see, it just takes the highs off, and then I can just smooth it out, and I'll just use that up against the cab, make it look as good as I can. But there may be enough here to do everything that I need to do. We'll see. Alright, so here's my plate. Just picked it up. It is 1/2 inch plate, 32.5 by 44. So just got it onto the grate all. Get it over. Let's get it set in here. Now what we're going to have to do to get this in here is I'll have to cut this front plate out so it'll slide in here. There's not enough distance here to come in on an angle and let it fall in. This would have had to been like 1/2 inch or 3/4 inch, or if this needed to be taller. So I'm going to try it first, but I think I'm going to have to just plasma cut this out, put it back in later. Frustrating. This is supposed to be 32.5. He made it 33.5. Ugh. I had it sheared so it'd be nice and straight, but looks like I'm going to be plasma cutting this to get it straight, or get it cut down to the right size. This just another delay I don't need. Well, I use a plasma cutter, and it's not exactly perfect, I struggled with the tip. It was worn out and needed to be replaced, and I replaced it and it got better. But you know, it's 1/2-inch plate. It cut it all the way through on one pass, so I had to clean the backside up a little bit. A little bit of the schmegmar was left over, but not too bad. It kind of looked like that on the other side, so probably right at the capacity of this machine or close to it. I'm cutting off these winches off the bottom. There's 2 of them. I'm cutting these corner lights off because we're going to use 3/4 LEDs. I don't want them big ones hanging down. So I'm going to go ahead and cut these off. Kind of a crappy weld to begin with. Plasma cut these things. A friend of mine wants these winches for one of his trucks, so try and be gentle getting them off. Well, I got this inside channel cleaned up where we're going to weld. And I've got all the stuff cut off the bottom that I don't want. I just need to clean it up with a flapper wheel. Get these all cleaned up. And then I think we're ready to, oh, there were some horrible schmegmar looking welds, this crap here. Like they tried to get it off with a torch and gave up or something. I don't know. But I got that off. So I got to get this cleaned up. And then I'm ready to flip it back over. Alright, it's flipped over. Now I can get this plate where we want it, space it from underneath, and start welding in where it needs to go. I'm using my Milwaukee, it's called a portaband. It's a portable bandsaw to cut these. What I'm doing is I'm basically C-channel them to the existing frame, and this one I had to true up the angle. It was off just a little bit, and that's one thing I really like about that bandsaw is, look, you can go from, I don't know, what is that, 3/16 of an inch thick down to nothing with precision with that thing, and you can follow your line pretty close. You know, I was trying to stay on this side of the line because I need to find a better way for marking these out, because these soapstones just aren't exact enough. I mean, I guess it is. It's not that big a deal, but I'd like to have something sharper, like a pen or a marker or something that works better. But let's finish cutting this. Now I need to switch to the other side. I just need to get that started on this side because I can't see it when I'm cutting. So now I come over to this side. Let's start here. like a glove. That'll do. Okay, now we'll clean up the edges and all this anywhere we're gonna weld. Get it ready to go. So I got the bed supported now, and I got the plate somewhat kind of just tacked in place, so you know, she won't move on me while I'm fitting. Probably not the greatest bead. I mean, we could probably do better, but I'm welding this, not Brandon right now. I'm just tacking it together, and I'll call him in later after I'm all done. I don't want to waste his time. Just have him come in and burn them all. So I'm cutting these angles, these C channels. You see what I'm doing here? I'm tying it into this C channel down to here. That way, it's gonna help keep this from pulling down, and at the same time tie the plate with this and give some support to the plate. So now we're down to, let's see what about that is, roughly probably, let's say 18.5 inches that we're spanning in here with no support. So we still may add something underneath if we need to, but I'm betting we don't. I'm thinking about right where the ball's gonna go. I may double it up, a section coming across on the top or on the bottom, one or the other, but we'll see what happens there. Right now I'm just getting these cut up, get all the angles cut, get them fit in. I made one as a template, but they're different. So this side has to be cut differently than this side. Okay, so what I'm trying to do is cut all one side first and then cut the other ones. And then we'll get it all set into place and start tacking. This is pretty thick metal. I think that's, what is that? An eighth? 3/16. What do we got there? Hold still. 3/16. So, you know, it's better than most. But anyways, I'll finish cutting these up and getting them ready to go, and we'll tack them in. I decided to round this out a little bit so we can get some more weld in here. I thought about just coming in here, just cutting these off straight, but I'd like this out as far as it can go. That way we can get as much weld under here as we can. So I'm thinking this will help. I didn't want to go with a point because I don't want it to crack, so I just kind of tapered it in. Should be all right. I think I got everything ready to go, ready to tack into place. I just got to start here and make sure I got them all on the right line so they're correct, and then we'll tack them in. This is a slow, tedious process because these main runners, the main C channel that they've put underneath the bed, are not straight. They are completely out. So I have to find a center line and then work backwards, and then work in this way, find the plumb line from here, find what the run is, or the rise, whatever you want to call it, from here, and then mark it on each individual spot, put it in place, and C-channel it, or C-clamp it. So I've got it all tacked in now. Everything's straight. We're ready to go. So I'm going to take my C-clamps out now. The next step is I'm going to fit this. I'm going to have Brandon come in and weld all this stuff. So I want to make sure I get everything ready to go when he gets here. It's taking me some time, but they're coming along better. So if I can just continue this, we'll be all right. It'll hold well. Still my fault. I gotta cut the length. Okay, now I just gotta flip it over and grind it clean. Alright, we got our plates fit in here, so now I'm gonna center punch my hole for my gooseneck ball and get the mag drill and get that taken care of, and then Brandon's gonna weld all this in, and then this well should be done and we'll be ready to flip it over. Okay, end of the day. Brandon just left. All the welding is done. He did such a nice job on this welding. It turned out really, really good. It is straight, square, and true the way I want it. I was gonna fill these two holes here, but I thought, you know, the truck sits nose low in the front, so I'm gonna leave them because water's naturally gonna gather in here if I don't, and that's a nice size hole, so I'm just gonna leave them for drains. I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with these two holes yet. I just left them for right now, but I got something in mind for these, so we're gonna leave them. Next, I'm gonna drill a hole from a gooseneck. I already center punched it. I measured it all out, and then I center punched it, so if the soapstone got washed off or wiped off like it did, that it would still be there. But So tomorrow I'm gonna drill that, flip it over, finish weld the bottom. I may add some more, another piece of steel underneath. I'm thinking about running a truck frame underneath it, kind of like this, and then cut the flange down so it fits inside the C-channel. I'll have to show you tomorrow. But anyways, it's all good. It's all done. I'm very, very happy with it. The lines are straight. The angles are right. It turned out good. I'm pretty pleased. So, okay, guys, we'll catch you later. We're all set up, ready to start drilling. Let's see if we can make this drill. We'll see if that works. Why don't you come up here and you can spray the oil on it. You won't need to do as much because it's going to lay there. About to come through, I think. Not all the way. Now we are.
Well, I can see the ground.
Alright, let's see what our hole looks like. Alright, that was a nice clean cut. Both sides are very, very clean. Lots of oil, of course, you saw. Look how nice that is, man. That is such a nice fit. Alright, so that's done. So the next step is I'm going to flip the bed upside down and start working on the back side now, or on the other side, I guess. position chains. Now I put them on here in a way that they can't come loose. Right now, the way these are done, it lifts, so it pulls it and holds it tight. But once I get it in the air like that, I need it to be hooked in such a way that there's just not a possibility of it coming loose. So let me get that done. Okay, now we're upside down, so I need to do the welding in here yet, all the way around, and on that side. See, look at that little fine piece that's left over from the cut through. Man, that is just super fine. The manual cutters, man, that's the difference right there. But maybe now you can see kind of the reason I'm not too excited about doing too much extra reinforcement underneath it, because my C channel comes down right into here, you know, on either side. So literally we're spanning from here to here on that plate. But we're gonna do a little extra. We'll see what we can do. Well, let's get to work. I want to use this truck frame to go across there, but I don't want this radius like this because it's going to be real hard to get a good weld in here, and that's not really what I'm looking for. So I'm going to cut a section out. I'm going to go the full width of this opening, and I'm going to think about this. I don't know if I want to tuck it up underneath there and then I can't weld the ends, or if the ends aren't nearly as important as the outsides. So should I hold it in slightly so we can weld all the way around it, which is probably a better idea. And then we'll take these ribs and we'll cut this down to what we need, and we'll stand them on edge and then weld them in place. So if you see this profile, if it shows up, it's flat here, and because of the radius, it starts to bend right there. So there's this much that I'm not going to be using. Okay, so what we're going to do is come in about, let's see, right about here and right about here. Let's see what that gives us. I'm looking for at least 6 inches. Ooh, look at that. Spot on, 6 inches. So that'll work. So So we're gonna cut our section out of the middle so it's good and flat. I don't want the edges raised up. I want that good and flat to that steel so we can get a good weld. Flat plate out of truck frame. Got to do a little cleaning up, but the gist of it is there. A little clean up on the back side. That'll do just fine. Can't tell right now because it's jagged, but it's 3/8 thick almost. Okay, so I cut out the center section of that frame, set it in there, and then I was thinking about putting a piece of flat bar right up against it. It would be like right here, and weld that in. But I've only got 1.5 inches here, from here to here, and I don't want anything hanging down below this because I may put it on a different truck later. So I thought about this piece of the frame, you know, the rest of this angle that's here. I mean, it's nice and stiff, it's form bent, and I think I can put it here, like weld this plate in first, chamfer the edge of this so it's sitting on top of this plate, and then weld this onto here, you know, get it set right. I'm close now, and then weld it here and do the same thing over there, and I think it'll give me a good bit of strength, you know, from leftovers, you know, just a little extra added, because I was going to put a piece of bar here, but it doesn't matter how thick I make it, it's only going to be 1.5 inches tall, and I think this is substantially stronger than a flat piece of bar. Plus I get to weld it spread apart like that, and then I can weld it to here too, so I kind of like that. So I think I'm going to go with it. The only other thing I thought about was I could manipulate the cut and possibly set it on top of this plate, which might be stronger yet. I just have to take a little bit off the back and get this down lower, which I may just do that because I kind of like that idea real well, getting this on top of here with another weld, because we're going to weld the plate to this plate, and then I could put this one on top of it, you know, basically in this area. I like that real well. Yep, I think that's what we're going to do. Not traditional. I mean, it'd be a whole lot easier to buy some flat stock like that piece right there, lay it in place, put some, you know, flat bars standing on edge on either side, but I have this, and it's not going to cost me anything but some time, and it should make it pretty strong. So. Alright, it's all done. It's ready to weld anyways. I got these two down underneath this lip. You know, I don't want this to be above here, because if I put it on another truck and there's something on the frame right there, I don't want it to hit. So by being just right here, it's good. I went ahead and drilled this hole right here, so we'll put the bolt in and tighten it up, because I want this to be super tight as it can be. And this hole was already in the frame, So I drilled, let me show you this a little closer. This hole was here, and this hole was here. So what I did is I measured in from the edge here, from this side, did the same thing here, and then measured in from here where this one was, and did the same thing here so we can plug weld. We'll go ahead and fill these full of weld once we're done, and that'll help tie the two together, so should be more than adequate. I'm pleased with it. I'm done with that for right now since I'm out of argon. Now I gotta move on to something else. I got it where I want it. It's down below there like 1/8 of an inch or so. Just about what I want. Leaves me about 3.5 inches in between here, which is really good. I like that. The weld on that bottom plate is going to be right about here. So this will be over it, and then the outside weld will be out here. I drilled the hole. We're going to put the bolt in there and sandwich the two together, and then I'll put pressure on this with the grate awl. I'll push down here and here. This truck frame had a hole here, and it had a hole there. And I wanted to plug weld that to this 1/2 inch plate. So since this one was already here, I measured from here in. It was 2 and some change, and I measured from here in and made that hole the same. And since this one was here, I measured in here and then made a corresponding hole over here. So it's all pretty uniform is the word I'm looking for. Put that bolt in, get it tightened up, and I'll put pressure down on that plate with a grate awl fork when we're getting ready to weld it, so there's absolutely no space between it. I have some time today, so while I've got this upside down, I'm going to mark out where I want my lights going down the sides so that I don't hit one of these cross members. So I'm going to get all my layout done and get all that laid out, so when I flip it over, I'm ready to drill holes. I want to make sure I got that down on there good and flat, so mighty grate awl comes into play again. Now I'm going to move to the other side of the ball, do the same thing. Alright, so I stitch weld it. Longer weld, short space, long weld, short space, long weld. That way if you break a weld, it doesn't crack all the way down the weld. That's the way I understand it. Probably not my finest work, but it is what it is. I'm not a welder, but I think it'll be fine. Now we're ready to flip this thing over and start on the drilling of the lights. I've got them all laid out. The spacing, I just have to flip it over and then start measuring up so I get it in the right location. Talk about running it to the end. Just barely off the needle. Well, here it is, the end of the day, and I'm right back where I started from. The bed flipped back the other way. However, I am laid out here. Got it ready to drill my holes, so I'll start that tomorrow. Drill all my holes for my 3/4 inch LEDs that are going in. This is where the stake pockets go. Every 2 foot is a stake pocket. Of course, they'll be up here much closer to the top. I'll bring them right even with this, but that's where I'm at for tomorrow. I'm done for today. I'm out of argon, so I gotta go get my bottle filled. So that's it. It's getting late anyway, so I'll catch you on the next one.